Tatis, he's going to lead Sports Center. He's done it again. Another home run.
Welcome back to Chasing 2 Divisional Breakdown. This time we're going to talk about the NL Central. This is the last divisional breakdown of the 6. Dylan, let's talk about the Pirates first. We have them ranked dead last in the MLB, 30th.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. This team is going nowhere but backwards. You talk about the subtractions. Josh Bell, Jameson Taillon, Joe Musgrove, Trevor Williams, Derek Holland, Keon Kela, Chris Archer. Goes back to Tampa Bay. What a horrible trade that is for the Pirates. Absolute disaster. Why don't you go over some of the additions they brought in?
Yeah, they traded for Dustin Fowler, brought in Brian Goodwin, who's an underrated fourth outfielder.
Right.
Todd Frazier comes in, vet guy. Tyler Anderson, lefty on the mound. Tony Walters behind the plate. Jason Shreve in the pen. David Bednar, Ronzi Contreras, Hector Noesi, who's a reliever, and Will Crow, who's has showed some promise with the Nationals, was traded for Josh Bell.
Right, yeah, he was that main piece in that Josh Bell trade. This team headed for a rebuild.
Well, they've been in a rebuild.
If you go in their lineup, you got Jacob Stallings, who's a young catcher. Colin Brown at first base, Adam Frazier at second. Cabrian Hayes, who's one of their top prospects, came up last year. Eric Gonzalez at short. Jared Olivia in left, Brian Reynolds switch hitter in center field, and Gregory Polanco, who I'm surprised is still playing. He's been around for a long time. I would imagine that Brian Reynolds is probably
Polanco's only 29.
Yeah, I thought that's what I'm saying. Like I thought he was older than that. Like this guy's been around forever. You would think that Brian Reynolds is probably the next out the door. I mean, this guy, you probably get some decent value for him.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get value, but I don't think they'll give him up just because he's got some roster control. I mean, there's really no reason to, and it's a new GM. That's something to be noted.
True.
Ben Cherington stepped in there. He's doing things a little bit different now, so it's not the same front office that traded Meadows and Glasnow for Archer.
Well,
okay? It's a new guy,
and he was in the Blue Jays organization. He worked under Alex Anthopoulos really closely. I mean, I think he was our head scout and he kind of an assistant GM role too. So I think they got the right guy in place, steering the ship. It's going to be a long, hard, dark rebuild for the Pirates. A lot like the Rockies. I think they're on similar paths. Who they had some postseason appearances, but now they're going through.
Let's just say we're looking at 2026.
Oh yeah,
2020.
Yeah, at least 4, 5, 6 years for sure.
That'll be 10 years from being in playoffs.
They made it in. I think they played
2014, right?
2013 in the wild card against the
Reds.
The Reds, yes. Where Johnny Cueto was absolutely rattled on the mound.
Yeah. So it's gonna be 15 plus years, by the time they make it back. But I mean, go ahead and go over their lineup. I mean, it's
we already went over their lineup. Why don't you go over the starting five?
Sorry, that's what I meant. Rotation.
Yeah, rotation.
Mitch Keller, Stephen Brault, Chad Kuhl, Tyler Anderson. They just signed Trevor Cahill.
Right.
Who might get some innings. Will Crow, as we mentioned. So, I mean, we'll see. And then Michael Feliz is in the pen. Richard Rodriguez is in the pen. They really haven't had a pen piece since what's his name that got got in trouble, with the underage girl.
The guy that changed his name, Fernando. What was his name?
Valdez? No.
This is bugging me. Vasquez, right? Vasquez?
Yeah, Vasquez.
Yeah.
But before that, it was Rivero.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they really haven't had a dominant relief piece since him. So, it's just not exciting. Not exciting time. There's not much positive.
No.
Brian Hayes is the guy to watch.
Right.
Colin Moran hasn't been a bad big leaguer. Brian Reynolds hasn't been a bad big leaguer. So we'll see. But watch out for Brian Hayes. And then Cole Tucker. We'll see what he could be. I mean, he's had his moments in the league as well as some pretty bad moments too.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game and part of growing. And it's just a team. If you want to watch some young ball players and that might be stars one day, it's the team to check into.
Let's go over to the Cubs, a team that was the king of the NL Central for a while, between them and the St. Louis Cardinals. We have them ranked 25th. Both of us don't think this team is anything exciting. They got a few names still. Let's go over the subtractions. They lost Billy Hamilton, Jeremy Jeffers, who had a crazy situation with him and his agent. Colin Rea, Josh Fagley, Jose Quintana went to the Angels. Jason Kipnis, Tyler Chatwood. They lost John Lester, Hugh Darvish, Victor Carantini, Jose Martinez, Albert Amora Jr. Kyle Schwarber went over to the Nats, and they lost Phil Irvin. So, I mean, they lost 3/5 of their starting rotation. So, why don't you go over the additions? It is a very long list.
Yeah, not many household names either. So
no.
Got Rafael Ortega, Michael Hermosillo, Matt Dermody, Jonathan Holders, Joe Biagini, Austin Romine. And then after that, we get into some more notable names. We got Zach Davies, who's going to be, he's going to pitch well there, I think. Jake Arrieta's coming back. They're old Cy Young.
Yep.
Trevor Williams from the Pirates. Jock Peterson, who's going to mash. He's finally going to get that chance to hit lefties.
Yep.
Cam Maben's coming back for another stint. Andrew Chafin, who's been in the league forever, that lefty.
Yeah.
He used to play for Diamondbacks. Shelby Miller, who, at one point with the Braves, he got traded for Dansby Swanson. Which that also looks like a terrible deal, right now also. So Brandon Workman, Jake Marisnik, and Pedro Strop is back.
And they picked up Trevor Williams too. I don't know if you mentioned him.
I did.
Okay.
I know it's a long list, but
yeah. Let's see. So I mean, you look at this lineup. I mean, you got Wilson Contreras behind the plate. Rizzo. You got Nico Horner. Can't talk today. At second base, David Bodie might get some time. Chris Bryant, who knows? Is he going to come or go? Baez, is he going to come or go? He's a UFA at the end of this year. Like you mentioned, he got Jock and left, chance to hit both lefties and righties. Ian Happ can play the infield, play the outfield. They got him at center field, and you got Jason Hayward still out there and right. So it's all going to depend on how good of a start the Cubs get off to. If they get behind the 8 ball, I think Chris Bryant's going to be out the door. I think Javi Baez is going to be out the door, and they're probably Rizzo. I mean, they picked up Rizzo's option this year, which is a no-brainer for that price.
They have Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, all free agents.
All free agents. So I mean, the direction is: are you going to lock one of those guys up? I mean, if you were to pick one, they'd probably pick Baez, correct? To lock up.
I think there's a good chance Anthony Rizzo comes back just because I can see him being a Cub lifer.
Okay.
But I also could see him being like, well, we're not headed in the right direction. I went through the rebuild, won a championship. Let's move on. So,
yeah, right.
It won't be Bryant. I think that relationship is pretty broken at this point.
It's
separated. They had some issues with service time. He filed a grievance.
Right.
They haven't signed an extension at this point. At least going to have he's a Boris client.
Yeah.
On top of that, there's trade rumors going on this past offseason. I think that, at this point, it's just we're counting the days until we're in free agency.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I mean, like you said, Javi Baez. I mean, Baez is very electric. He's a really good player.
He's a stud.
He has some swing and miss in his game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say
he's a
that
good defender too.
I think that Anthony Rizzo will go to a contender next year, in my opinion. So I will agree with you that Javi Baez, I guess, would be the most likely to get locked up.
Where do you see a guy like Chris Bryant go? I mean, there was rumors of him going to the Mets. Like, where do you see a fit for him?
Oh, man.
Try to put you on the spot.
The Braves.
Okay.
Call me crazy on this one. Possibly the Astros. The A's.
Well, I mean, you could slide Bregman over to
Well,
short.
you can put him in the outfield, too. That short portion left.
Put him in left, too, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so the A's. This is all mid-season, I'm saying. I'm not saying free agency.
Yep.
Another team I could see him going to. Let's see. Maybe a division rival Brewers team. I know they would hate that, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the NL East teams are going to be the Mets.
Yep.
I've already been linked to him.
There was rumors
the Nationals.
The Jays were linked to him too earlier in the offseason, but I mean they got Biggio and Vlad at third base, so I don't see that being a possibility. Why don't you go over the starting five? I mean, you still got Kyle Hendricks, so
yeah, you got Kyle Hendricks at the top, no brainer. I mean, that's their best pitcher.
Right.
Zach Davies, like I said, I mean, he's pretty solid. He's a number 3, number 4 guy, but he's going to eat the innings. He's going to be competitive. Alec Mills, he threw a no-no last year. I mean, we'll see what happens this year.
Right.
Jake Arrieta, coming off some injury issues, not a great stint with Philly, but he's coming back home to where he feels comfortable. See if he could be rejuvenated. He's a 1-year deal. Maybe they trade him. Then Trevor Williams, coming over from the Pirates. He's got good stuff. It's just, he just hasn't been able to put it all together yet. So we'll see. And then Craig Kimbrell, who's had 2 down years in a row, he'll be back into the bullpen. Brandon Workman in the pen. So, I mean, on paper, that lineup, it does look good. The lineup does look good. It's just, are they really going to outslug a whole bunch of teams? And there's a lot of swing and miss in that lineup. They lost Schwartz, like you said. You replace him with Peterson, which I think is a good replacement just because Peterson
plays better defense. Yep.
So, I mean, other than that, the thing is they just have no depth. If somebody gets hurt in their starting rotation, then
pretty thin.
Yeah, it's pretty thin out there. So, this is how I feel about them. I mean, maybe 25 was a little harsh. Ranking them 25th in the league. I just see more promise and opportunity for teams in front of them. I don't know. Maybe we're being too harsh. Maybe we're just writing them off a little bit too early.
The reason why I think we rated them so low is because this could go south in a hurry, right? I mean, they get off to a bad start. They could just sell, and all of a sudden, I mean, you trade Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo, and possibly even Contreras. This team is really bad. Right, I mean,
really bad. Yeah.
This could head for a full rebuild within the first couple months of the season, right? So that's why I think that maybe why we ranked them so low. But let's go over to the Brewers. We ranked them 18th. The subtractions: Jed Jerko, Eric Sogard, Ryan Braun, who decided to take a break from baseball, hasn't signed a contract yet. He's still a UFA. Corey Knebel got traded to the Dodgers. Claudia went he went to the Angels, correct?
Yeah, Claudia.
Ben Gamel, Jace Peterson. We have Claudia on here twice, my mistake. Why don't you go over the additions?
Yeah, we got Luke Maile, your guy.
Blue Jays legend, baby.
Blue Jays GOAT, Luke Maile. Daniel Robertson. Another Blue Jays GOAT, Travis Shaw. Another Blue Jays GOAT, Brett Anderson.
Yo, chill. Hey,
another
Derek
Blue
Fisher.
Jays GOAT, Derek Fisher. Man.
They just stock it up on the former Jays.
Wow.
Love that.
Brad Boxberger, who has not been good for a long time. Jordan Zimmerman coming off one of the worst contracts in MLB history.
Colton Wong's a solid guy.
And then Colton Wong. And
Solid
JBJ,
piece.
2 defensive wizards out there.
Yep.
Wow, I mean, those are the 2 notable names. I mean, the rest, I'm like, dang, they want the crappy Jays players. I mean, Derek Fisher still has some promise. I mean, we'll see what happens. He just hasn't panned out.
He needs some glasses in the outfield to catch the damn ball. That's what he
Travis
needs.
Shaw, I mean, he's got some pop.
Well, Travis Shaw, 2 of his best seasons of his career were in a Brewers uniform. So there maybe catch some magic in the ball or something there. I don't know. I mean,
it's just, I think it's just what you just said. It's just trying to get some lightning in the bottle.
Yeah.
But JBJ is going to be a good signing. Yeah. JBJ is going to play that dominant defense. Their outfield's stacked with JBJ, Kane, and Yelich out there.
Yeah.
So defensively, they're looking pretty solid.
Let's talk about this lineup here. They got Omar Narvaez at catcher, another Blue Jay icon for a couple games. Daniel Vogelbach, Colton Wong at second base, Daniel Robertson at third, Orlando Arcia at short, Yelich in left, Lorenzo Kane in center, JBJ in right. Yelich just moved to left field last year, right? Because he was always a right fielder, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So this is
because Braun was there, and then Braun started to play some first base.
Right.
They're actually talking about playing Keston Hiura at first base.
Okay.
Over Vogelbach, which is a no-brainer. Keston Hiura is their player.
Yeah, for sure.
So Keston Hiura is probably going to get that first base time. Maybe third base.
Because he was
not good defensively, though.
He was a second base. So obviously, Colton Wong's going to take his spot, right? And they kind of short up the middle of that infield defense.
Yeah. So in their rotation, we got Woodruff and Burns, who had great years. But then after that, Brett Anderson, Freddie Peralta, who I think has really good stuff, but he walks a lot of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Lindblom back there doesn't look great in the rotation, but the bullpen. I mean, you got Hader, Williams, Hauser. That's nasty.
I mean, Devin Williams.
So they're going to have to take the Rays type of approach of just getting it past the fifth inning and handing it off to their guys. And hope that Yelich comes back and he's MVP Yelich.
Hader. A guy that can go 2-3 innings if you need. He's a workhorse in that bullpen. The biggest question is, are they going to trade him? I mean, the asking price has been astronomical. I mean, they're asking for the stars and the moon for this guy. So until that price tag comes down, I don't see a team willing to pay that price for a reliever. Like, I get he's lights out, throws 100 from the left side, but man, it's just such a risk to take a reliever paying that much for him. Corbin Burns got injured before last year's playoffs. Kind of, I'm not saying they would have beat the Dodgers, but I mean, it would have been a better fate if he was healthy, maybe. But this team, probably not a playoff team right now.
I mean, who knows? I mean, Central's pretty bad.
It's just really hit and miss, right? I mean, we're gonna get into the Reds, we're gonna get into the Cardinals here in a second, but I mean, this lineup, like Yelich had a really poor year. Like we said, 2020 stats, crumple them up and throw them in the garbage, right? So
plus he's coming off that injury where he busted his kneecap.
Yeah, Yelich, Kane, JBJ, Colton Wong. I mean, not a bad four to build your offense around, but the pitching, like you said, Woodruff, Burns at that top, pretty solid. And Devin Williams, I don't even think he allowed an earned run all season. He won reliever of the year last year, so he was pretty filthy.
I mean, I don't know. This team is just this. I feel like the whole offseason we're waiting for one team just to make those moves, and we never got it. We got the Arenado move that we'll get into later, but other than that, the Central really didn't do anything.
No.
So, and it lost a lot of good players. A lot of good players.
Let's talk about the Reds here. We have them ranked 17th. This is a very, very confusing team, right? I mean, we don't really know their direction. Obviously, they lost Trevor Bauer, who signed that massive deal. As expected, yeah. He signed that massive deal with the Dodgers. They lost DeSclafani, who I think is a pretty solid guy. Tyler Thornburg. They lost Freddie Galvis, Robert Stevenson, who was dealt. Archie Bradley, Kirk Casale, Brian Goodwin. I was shocked that they non-tendered Brian Goodwin. Like that move just didn't make sense to me.
Oh, and Bradley.
And Bradley, too. And then they obviously traded Raciel Iglesias to the Angels. Why don't you go over the additions?
Well, they re-signed Kyle Farmer, who will probably get a good shot to be their starting shortstop.
Right.
Because they do not have a shortstop right now.
No.
Sean Doolittle comes in to replace Archie Bradley, I would say.
Yep.
Jeff Hoffman gets traded from the Rockies over to be in the rotation. It's never really done well.
No.
Noe Ramirez comes over in that Iglesias deal. Can't believe that's only, they only got
Just gave him away,
Noe
man.
Ramirez.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a salary dump, but
for
man,
sure.
for a guy that's top 5 in saves in the past 5 seasons in Iglesias,
Yeah.
I think you could get a little bit more than Ramirez, but maybe I'm overplaying that. D. Gordon comes in on a minor league deal. He'll probably make the team.
Right.
If I had to guess, Tyler Naquin comes, and then Cam Bedrosian. He's coming over to be in that pen too.
That's your guy. That's your guy.
Yeah. I guess
Could D. Gordon play short still?
he hasn't played short in a long time, but I mean at this point,
they might not have a choice.
yeah. I mean, I know he's been definitely getting games over there. I've seen him.
Yeah.
In spring training, play some short.
He's kind of
I
played
would say
over.
Kyle Farmer.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Senzel came up as a shortstop, and they haven't really named him.
And they have him playing the outfield, right? I mean,
Yeah.
They've had him at second, they've had him in left, they've had him in center. So, you followed this team pretty.
They even talked about Eugenio Suarez playing some short a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You followed this team pretty closely. I'm working for the AAA team a few years ago. So, like, what do you think the direction of this team is? I mean, they got a lot of pieces. I mean, Votto's let's go over this lineup here before you answer that question. You got Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. You got Votto, Moustakas, Eugenio Suarez, Kyle Farmer / D. Gordon / Nick Senzel. You got Castellanos out there. You got Shogo Akiyama. And then you got Jesse Winker, who rakes from against righties. So, like, on paper, this lineup is very dangerous. It's like I just don't know the direction of this team.
Yeah, I mean, really, this team just didn't play up to what they were supposed to be last year. I mean, last year we were thinking this lineup's gonna destroy teams, and they were one of the worst offensive teams in the league.
Yeah.
So, but in the starting 5, you still got Castillo and Gray at the top, and that's where you got to look and be like, Castillo has always been an ace. Yeah, he's underrated. Sonny Gray has been an ace the past 2 years, ace numbers. But then you got Lorenzen, who's getting a chance to be in the rotation. Wade Miley, and then you got Jeff Hoffman, Tyler Mahle. But I think TJ Antone's getting a friend of the pod.
He is.
Friend of mine. Obviously, like you said, I worked with Louisville Bats AAA team, and me and TJ became pretty cool with each other. TJ is throwing 100 miles per hour right now. When I was with the Reds, working with the Reds, TJ was throwing 92.
Yeah.
93.
It's
he's
crazy.
100 right now, and he's been electric in spring. I think they're going to give him a chance in the rotation.
Yeah.
And then in the pen, you got Amir Garrett, Doolittle, Bedrosian, Noe, like I said, some others. So this team on paper, I think, can get second place, can get maybe a possibly first place in the NL Central.
Ooh, hot take, Smith, with the hot take.
I mean, I'm kind of backing off. I thought last year they were going to win the Central. So
yeah.
But now they don't have Bauer. So I mean, I kind of have to take a little reverse route on them and say, you know what, you didn't show it last year. You have a lot of potential. We'll see what you are this year, and maybe it just took a year. Maybe full real season, they're going to show us what they really are.
Luis Castillo, let's talk about him for a second. This guy was in a few trade rumors. I mean, he's under control for 3 more seasons. Would you entertain at all trading this guy?
It's gotta be for the right package, of course. I mean, you're gonna get a premier. Let's use your team, the Blue Jays. If I'm gonna get Castillo, you're gonna give me Groshans and Manoah.
Right. Yeah.
So it's gonna be a premier prospect package. It's not gonna be because he's only making $4 million.
Right.
So there's no reason for the Reds to even trade him at this point. He's on a team-friendly deal. He's not making too much money.
But you look at what Blake Snell and Hugh Darvish got, like, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't understand, like, how those guys can just go for not getting, like, you don't get any top prospects back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, both teams were trying to do a salary dump.
Right.
So, I mean, I think they just saw some players that they liked and, made the move. But on this deal in particular, I mean, with him only making $4 million,
yeah,
you're either getting an MLB ready player that's
Or a guy that's like close.
And for me, like the Blue Jays make sense. Groshans and
Yeah.
Manoah, you're going to get a pitching prospect, or even Simon Woods Richardson.
Yep.
Maybe a guy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pair with a Groshans for Castillo. That makes sense because then they get their shortstop prospect.
Right. Yeah.
Close to being ready.
And he's in
plus
triple.
You guys got So plus you guys got that Kevin Smith kid. I was going to say too.
Oh, Kevin Smith, man, don't even get me going on him.
Well, I'm just saying they're looking for shortstop.
Yeah, he's a guy who can play second base, outfield too. So I mean, it is going to be a thing to keep an eye on. I mean, if the Reds do decide to, I mean, I don't even want to call it a rebuild because it would be very sad to see the Reds go to a real rebuild because
they just did a rebuild.
On paper, this lineup is nasty. Like, why would you take steps backwards? So. Like obviously they weren't going to sign Trevor Bauer. They do not have the money to do that. So Sonny Gray, he'll be a trade deadline candidate to go. Let's talk about the Cardinals here. We got them ranked 7th in the MLB. We have them probably first in this division because you look at the subtractions. They lost Colton Wong, Brad Miller, Matt Wieters, I can't believe is still in the league. John Brebbia, Dexter Fowler, who got traded, and Austin Gomber, who was surprisingly the main piece to go in that Nolan Arenado trade. Let's talk about that right now. Talk about the additions.
Yeah, I mean, they got Nolan Arenado, Adam Wainwright re-signed, and Yachty re-signed. Not a really busy offseason for them at all.
They got the big fish, though. They got their guy.
Yeah. So, and their lineup is Yachty, Goldie,
yep,
Edmund at second, Arenado at third, DeYoung at short, O'Neill in left, Bader in center, and then Dylan Carlson in right. So that outfield could
improve. It could improve for sure.
And maybe 7th is a little too high for the Cardinals too, but I think you gotta look at, hey, we have some vets, and they always come through. To me, if you're gonna rank a team in the MLB, you gotta look at their reputation.
Right.
In their starting 5, they still got Flaherty, who's a lights-out guy. Yep. Miles Mikolas has been good since he's came back. Adam Wainwright's been good. Kwang Hun Kim, he's been pretty good.
He was good, yeah.
Yeah, and then you got that Alex Reyes / Carlos Martinez in their rotation. And then Miller in the
really
pen.
Good. Their bullpen's
solid. Yeah, I mean, I think this team is just they play in St. Louis. They're not looked at. I think they're one of the better teams in the league. But with that being said, they don't really have much depth. So
no.
They gotta hope that their guys stay healthy. Matt Carpenter would even talk about him. He's on the bench. I mean, we'll see what he can do.
Right.
Obviously, he's not gonna get as much playing time because Arenado's playing.
Yeah.
Over him, which is a no-brainer.
I mean, here's the thing: what they could do, Tommy Edman could play the outfield. So if you want to play Carpenter at second, which is probably not ideal, he's not the best defensively, but that could be an option. You could put him at second, and you can put Tommy Edman in left. That outfield, I mean, like a guy like JBJ, that would have been a good fit for them. A guy that can come in there at center field, kind of help them out defensively. Harrison Bader's a speed guy, not very good with the stick. Dylan Carlson showed. I think he's going to be a good hitter at the MLB level, good switch hitter in that lineup. So this team, I'm excited to watch this team play, man. Not going to lie. Top to bottom on offense, this team could do some damage.
Yeah, they haven't had that for a long time. They really haven't. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what kind of year Arenado and Goldschmidt have. But, I think they're one move away from being a dominant team in the NL. Like I said, maybe 7 was too high. Yep. We're expecting them to win their division, so we're in a power ranking there for now. We'll see you after April.
Yeah, so that'll be it for this divisional breakdown. That will do it for all 6 divisional breakdowns. The next episode will be our season preview, so keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, take care, guys.